Yeah, I trolled you a little bit at the end of the last video. But I was telling the truth. I do like this movie. Alright, here we go. Spider-Man 3. Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 3. Dancing Peter, Spider-Man 3. I like being bad, Spider-Man 3. Yes, I do. Yes, Spider-Man 3. Was I lying when I said that this movie was fantastic? Objectively, probably. Relax, 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 relax. I'm not saying it's the best of the three. I'm not saying it's not the worst of the three. It's just as corny and just as cheesy as the rest of them. You know, the second one had the pizza time meme and blah blah blah. And first we attack his heart. Like, come on, these movies are full of nonsense, bro. Like early 2000s nonsense. So I'm not about to pretend that the fact that the third one may have gone a little bit overboard with it, that it's now like in some level that the other two didn't encroach on. So here's a brief history with this movie. It was 2007. I was still in elementary school at the time, so it didn't take much to impress me. So I liked it the first time. I liked it the second time. I liked it the next 20 times I watched it. And then I grew up a little bit and got into the world of other people have opinions and found out that this movie was like universally hated. And me, being a little boy of no conviction back then, let all of you haters convince me that this movie is terrible. It's not your fault. It's my fault. I folded. I caved. I denied myself. I knew that I liked this movie, but I went on carrying on, calling it horrible and calling it blah blah blah. And I do have legitimate criticisms to this movie to this day that I wasn't taught to criticize. I mean, like I legitimately have problems with the movie. However, I had to really look like within myself as I got older and decide that, you know what, y'all opinions don't define me. Nobody's opinions define me. I like Spider-Man 3. Why did I watch Spider-Man 3? In the words of Oliver Queen, I watched it because I wanted to and I liked it. I know that Mary Jane is on Broadway as she's always wanted to be. Apparently, she sucks because she gets fired. I've heard some Broadway experts or musical experts, rather, whichever one you prefer, say that that's not how that happens. Okay, cool. I'll take your word for it. I don't know anything about the mechanics of the stage. However, for the sake of the plot, we gotta move this along. So she gotta get up out of there. You got Harry up in the balcony. Now, yes, this was mad corny doing the supervillain thing. You got the goggles looking on down at Peter. So, like, he might as well have a handlebar mustache or he could twirl it like, oh, I'm gonna get that boy. I'm gonna get him. Yeah, okay. All right, cool. However, their first scene where Peter sees Harry, and presumably, based on his reaction, they haven't seen each other in a while. And he once again tries to explain what happened because Harry now knows that Peter is Spider-Man. And you can tell that Harry is just done. He will not be convinced otherwise. It's always been that way, but now, like, I can't imagine the level of betrayal he must feel. And he's already in I am going to kill you mode. And he just turns around. I don't want to hear what you got to say. You go find the gravestone, you go take that up with my pops. I'm out of here. I love it because Harry is going to go up against Peter in this movie and he is laser focused on it. He goes into action. It's there the time for talk is done. Next time I see you, I'm gonna be on a hoverboard and you and me gonna be scrapped. Alright, cool. Once again, the drama between the characters, it's it's what you've come to expect. Harry hates Peter. Peter and Mary Jane got their problems because Mary Jane's life is not going the way she wanted it to, while Peter's life couldn't be better, which has to breed some natural resentment. Even if you're not a spiteful person, it's hard. It's hard to watch somebody just be on cloud nine while you're down in the dumps. And Peter's not exactly emotionally intelligent, so they have their problems. Then Peter finds out that the guy who killed Uncle Ben wasn't the guy that killed Uncle Ben. This other dude, Flint Marko, is actually the guy that did it. So now we got a retcon. So we got to open that wound back up. You got Topher Grace moving in on Peter's territory. If things couldn't get worse, a freaking alien comes from outer space. Yeah, symbiote comes from outer space. I'm sorry, man. That's a problem. That's the problem because everything has been scientific up until this point. In the first movie, it was a scientific experiment. In the second movie, it was a scientific experiment. Sandman even becomes Sandman through a scientific experiment gone wrong. Harry does the same experiment that his father did to become New Goblin. Blah blah blah. And then off in whatever land or blah 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 comes a comet with an alien goo. That's odd. All three of these plots have very good reason to be here, and they all could work as central themes for a movie, especially a third movie. Problem is, all of them need more time to breathe. None of them get a whole lot of time to breathe. Once again, performances are great. Sam Raimi knows how to direct these actors to play the roles the way they're supposed to play them. Oscar worthy, nah, but they're no worse than they have been. Like, if you thought they've always been cheesy, or if you think that they were cheesy in this movie, it's always been that way. If you think they were great in the previous movies, it's there still. If you think they were terrible in the previous movies, then it's the same thing that you've been getting. And the thing that really endears this movie to my heart, more than anything, it's a personal thing, and it might be why I'm willing to overlook so much. I love stories that discredit revenge because revenge is just not right. It isn't. It never is. It never is. And here we have a Peter Parker who gets this black suit and it turns him into, as Aunt May says, something ugly. He starts treating people around him like crap. He starts thinking he's hot and he's not. He's goofy. You know what I mean? But like, he's what a goofy guy thinks a cool guy is. You know how I know that that's what's going through his head? Because I'm goofy and I would act just like him. I act like him sometimes now. He goes and tries to murder Flint Marko. In cold blood, he just finds him and he's just ready to kill him. And he thinks he does. He goes on May and tells her, like, he was killed. Spider-Man killed him. He's got like a grin on his face. And Aunt May is just repulsed. Spider-Man doesn't do that kind of thing. And I love that Aunt May serves as the moral compass for Peter in this movie. I think she more or less serves as the moral compass in the last movie. I love that she is useful. I said it in the last video when I was talking about the second movie. I love that Aunt May is useful. I love that Aunt May cannot be replaced. And after he is at his lowest low, it's Aunt May that picks him back up. Listen, that was a horrible thing that you did. But you gotta forgive yourself. You gotta move on. You gotta pull yourself out of this. You can come back from this. Some great action sequences in this movie. The first fight with Harry, top notch. Second fight, pretty good. I mean, it's one of those dirty fights. Sometimes I like me a good dirty fight where we're just licking each other, and whatever happens happens. You're getting thrown through windows, you're getting cut, you getting stabbed in uncomfortable places, you're just getting decked. I throw your head into a banister or whatever. Like, sometimes a good grimy just brawl is nice to look at. That's cool. Spider-Man vs. Venom, that was mad disappointing. Jesus Christ, man. I don't know what I was expecting, but like, I expected more than that. So I wasn't impressed by the finale action sequence between Spider-Man and Venom. Other scenes, such as Spider-Man dealing with Venom and Sandman, top notch. Harry Osborn helping him fight Sandman, top notch. Going to rescue Mary Jane. And these two enemies are finally friends again, and they're just going. And Harry, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but Harry just gives a blessing. Go get your girl. You know what I mean? Harry had Mary Jane at the beginning of the first movie, and that didn't end up working out. Peter, I don't think I mentioned that's part of the resentment I think is between them, is the fact that, to a degree, I think Harry blames Peter for stealing his woman. And then through the amnesia, and because Mary Jane isn't really rocking with Peter in this movie, they sort of have a moment in this one. And then in this instant, as Mary Jane is falling and they have made peace, Harry just tells Peter, go get her. Go save her. Go get your girl back. I'm letting it all go. I don't know if that's what is supposed to be being communicated in that moment, but that's what I get out of that moment. And I love that interpretation, if I do say so myself. Back track for a second. You know what else was great? When he first shows up and everybody looks to the hills from which cometh their help, and the red and blue has returned because up until this point he's been in the black, and Spider-Man has turned into something different. But now there's a huge threat, and their hero back in his red and blue, back to being who he is, a shot in front of the American flag has returned, and everyone just loses their mind. Peter become a douchebag? Yeah, he does. Is that dance scene goofy as all hell? Yeah, it is. Now dig on this? Yeah, this is all whack. I didn't know you knew how to play the piano. Where did you learn that? I don't know. I don't really care. Um, because it's the kind of corniness I've come to expect from these movies. Yes, it did take it a little bit too far. I've already said that. But it's still the brand, whatever. So, yeah, there are moments like that and blah, blah, blah. But all of the moments of, like, what I came here to see. I came here to see Spider-Man be Spider-Man. All of the moments that are there make up for that. If you ask me, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care that he goes into a store and comes out dancing like an idiot. I don't care. I don't care that this entire movie is memeable like the last one and the one before that isn't. I don't care. I don't care about the bridge scene where they're both just crying, him and Mary Jane. I don't care. You know what I do care about? I care about the fact that in that fight with Harry Osborn, the second one, there's a shot when Harry is on the ground and there's a pumpkin bomb like right next to him. You can see it in the shot, but he reaches off camera to grab one. I hate that. It's a 4 out of 5 because of that. Well, it's a 4 out of 5 before that. It's a 3 out of 5 because of that. I hate that. It messes with my mind, my eyes. It doesn't gel. It frustrates me. Some people are mad at this movie because they feel like it's an unworthy sequel to what came before it. I'm mad at this movie because of that damn pumpkin bomb, bruh. Pardon my French. There are worse finales out there. It's not Matrix 3. I don't know what else y'all want,